Pals for Life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Pals for Life. Today is January 18th, 2015. My name is Wilson, and I'm joined today by Randall.
Hello everyone.
And Lane.
Hey guys.
We'll get into this a little later in the episode, but I just want to let you know for now, this will be our last episode for the foreseeable future. But let's jump right into this. Our Spellbreaker topic today is a WoW video, or rather a piece of WoW machinima that goes down in history, not to the same effect as Leroy Jenkins by any means, but it's one that Randall and I have always enjoyed, and that's the Matey or May Die PvP video. I'm still not sure on the pronunciation.
Yeah, I don't know either. We always just said Matey because I guess it just sounds cleaner, but May Die makes sense because that's what it's supposed to be. But
yeah, that's what it spells, so...
Yeah.
Well, anyway, if you haven't seen it, this is, again, a piece of machinima. It's a bunch of clips of an old arms warrior from vanilla days just wreaking havoc in all sorts of PvP scenarios. And it includes an incredible soundtrack with hits like Children of Bodom, Downfall, some Naruto OST, and Van Helsing original soundtrack as well. And also some Rammstein, song called Fly.
I mean, it's probably the most epic thing you'll ever see, like in one video.
That's like a whole early high school right there, or maybe even junior high in like.
Oh, it was junior high.
Yeah, I mean, I only really heard about Rammstein when I got into high school for some freaking reason, but geez, that's quite a trip.
All right, so if you guys want to see bodies hit the floor, I mean, this guy's doing massive crits. But seriously, I mean, it's funny just to even see the numbers. You know, obviously since the stat squish we've seen in Warlords, it's changed a little bit. But
yeah, I saw him hitting for like 500 and him editing a big deal about that, and I kind of winced a little bit. Like, wait, isn't 500 really low?
Yep, how things change.
Not anymore.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
So anyway, the original video I think was taken down and it's been reposted from time to time. So you'll find a link to that in our show notes. But if you're looking for some fun, inspirational, old school machinima, look no further.
It's like gotta make a montage.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And we're going to go ahead and move over to Tavern Talk. This is basically news and rumors heard from all over. And to start us off here, we've got some clarification on the Veteran Edition that we noted on last week. So the Veteran Edition was kind of, some information teased out of the patch notes for 6.1. And we kind of speculated that maybe it was an upgraded trial version of the game. But in reality, it's mostly just an altered version of the trial. So if you have an account that's already, been activated and leveled up, and you've spent time and money on the game, typically you can't play the trial, right?
Yeah.
With this, you actually will be able to play a trial version of the game, and the word veteran is really mostly for internal use, as explained by Bashiok on the forums. So basically, if you're not playing WoW anymore, you can still log on as a kind of this Veteran Edition and create new characters and play them up to level 20. And I guess if you have lower than level 20 characters, you can still play those.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, that's interesting. That's sort of, I don't want to say that's a missed opportunity because the real question is there, player base of people that need to come, not need to, but they want to draw back into the game big enough to do something for like a semi-high level sort of trial to tempt them back in, and the answer is probably a not really. So
yeah.
I guess this is the optimal option. I don't know. I really don't know. It's so weird.
I guess this is maybe nice people who like want to see who's all playing again. Like, I wonder if such and such is still playing this game or things like that. Something more to see, like if any of your old community is still left. For me, that's what I would do anyway. I guess if I was trying to come back like that.
Let me get this straight one more time. This is for people who already have WoW accounts and they're just playing basically the trial, right?
Yeah.
Right. Basically, right now you can't even log into the game if you don't have subscription time, right?
Okay.
If you have an account that exists. But the one key difference here too is that if you have a sub-level 20 character that's not in a guild, but you have another character that is in a guild, in the same guild, you can have this small character, this kind of alt join that guild. So it's a good way to maybe keep in touch with your guildies in-game.
Okay. It's so odd, though. Very, very niche sounding thing. Almost more niche than the other way around, like the thing that I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what it pans out to. I'm guessing they've done their research on it more than, like, we have probably.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird to say. But I just don't know, like, what all can be done with that per se. Like, what it's all going to come out to. What's going to amount to.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're looking to get more information on that, just wait until patch 6.1. And obviously, maybe the forums. We're going to go ahead and move over to the next piece of information we have, and this is something that's very interesting. Blizzard is sending out a gift to all subscribers who were a part of kind of WoW's initial launch. So, just some kind of businessy text here. To be eligible for this, you must have created a WoW account within 60 days of the game's original launch in North America or Europe. So that's November 23rd, 2004, and February 11th, 2005, for each region, respectively. And so that means basically your range for North America is November 23rd, 2004 to January 22nd, 2005, or if you're in the EU region, that's February 11th to April 12th, 2005.
Interesting. So what do you guys think about this? I know you're just barely up, well, not even just barely outside of it, but quite a ways outside of it, but still in the first year. So what do y'all think about it?
I think it's pretty neat. I'm sad that me and Wilson missed this opportunity.
And you can protect yourself when you're kids and be like, gosh, why didn't y'all subscribe to WoW earlier?
So the statue itself is actually a replica of the statue that is on Blizzard's campus. Right now, I think it's a 12-foot statue on Blizzard's campus, and it's just an orc riding a wolf mount, kind of dual-wielding some pretty sweet little weapons. But it looks like a really cool statue, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks really well crafted.
You read the little thing they have on the bottom. They said something about how this statue that they have at their campus is sort of their meeting place where they go to, brainstorm or meet up with the whole company and have, lunch or something like that. Basically, it's a place of congregation for them, and it holds a special place to the company and the game, in their opinion. So that's why they decided to commemorate it to all WoW players in the first 60 days, I guess.
It's really awesome. It's a nice kind of nod at the players who really made it possible. I mean, when WoW first launched, Blizzard wasn't expecting the numbers that they were going to get. I mean, they had projections, but it wasn't even close.
Yeah, and I mean, here's another thing where we can just say, who else has ever done this? No one, ever.
Who else could do this?
Who else will probably ever do this? Probably no one, ever. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite things about Blizzard and this show. They set so many firsts. It's so stupid. They're pioneering unknown territory every freaking day they're making and continuing with WoW. Because nobody knows what's going to happen in 3 years with WoW. Maybe it'll be the most popular game in the world again. They'll have the World of Warcraft Fighter Jet Edition or something.
Fighter Jet Edition.
And that will be the thing for 5 years. And they'll be picking out statues of people 10 years after that comes out with like a freaking orc in like a F-18 Hornet or something like that. I mean, it's so interesting to think about what Blizzard's gonna do because they're the first ones to do a majority of this stuff.
Definitely agree. And if you haven't checked your email, may as well go ahead and do that. So they actually are sending out emails to the address on your Battle.net account. So if you are a pretty old veteran player, you should be getting an email about this. And if you haven't gotten one yet, you probably aren't in the cut, or you've got an old email that's been lost forever because back then, who kept track of their email address?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have to respond to the email to get the statue?
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure. I think you would have to kind of fill out some mailing information.
Yeah.
But that's still, I mean, if you imagine the number of players that is, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
There's still going to be some chunks of statues. They're going to be, I bet you money. Not really. I mean, I don't know if this will actually happen, but they probably will have the opportunity to sell the excess number of statues they have. Not sure if they would do it, but maybe like a year or two from now, they could put it out as like, hey, we have X amount of extra statues because we made a statue for every person who joined and only like half of them got back to us. So they could do that if they want, maybe.
I mean, we'll probably be seeing people sell their own, honestly.
Oh,
That stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. I'm curious, what do you think the retail value for this thing is?
Oh, I don't know. If it's as exclusive as they're making it seem right now, it's anybody's guess.
Okay, well, if it was having just a normal release as a statue for WoW, what do you think?
I don't know.
Looks pretty nice. Maybe $50? I'm not sure.
I'd say almost 100 because I've seen Mark buy statues before, or a good friend of ours, and he's bought like kind of resin-looking statues like that before, and they were like I think like $100 to $200.
Dang. Yeah, it really depends on the size. And
I can't tell how big it is either. So.
Yeah.
And quality.
Yeah. So I have to agree with around $100. Probably a little above, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not made of paper mache and it's not liquid gold.
There you go.
Somewhere in the middle. But I did want to go ahead and move over to the Twisting Nether, and this is more of a rambling section of the show, but I wanted to talk about something Lane touched on of kind of Blizzard charting unknown waters. There's an opinion article that recently went out that's in the show notes about the people who only play one game. That's a version of the title, but basically it's talking about video games are becoming more of a service now more than ever, in the sense that in the past video games were kind of viewed as a product, right? You pick one up off the shelf, you play it, you're done, you get another one. But now we're living in a time where people may only play one game and they play the heck out of it, or that's all they have time for. Either way, we've got people who are playing WoW, and that's their game, or League of Legends, and that's their game. And I wanted to talk specifically about, how WoW is kind of hanging in the balance in all of this.
I mean, WoW is probably, it made the standard for this kind of service. You know what I mean? Before WoW, I don't think there was ever a service that had, done at least like WoW had done. Not successfully, right? WoW was the first one to really do the subscription based, like at such a high level, and get people to change their ideas from like, getting that new game every month to, like waiting for the new expansions or, new content, all that kind of stuff.
So
the first real service.
Here's a good question then. What actually drove this from the game? Do you think it was the fact that you had to pay money for the game every month and, get new expansions? So it was like you were buying multiple games, but you only had one, or was it more the content, or was it a mixture of both?
I think it's more of a time thing currently.
Oh, because of how much you dumped into it?
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think it's got to be the community, in my opinion, right? Stay a while and listen, turn into you being able to really connect with people.
Oh, and
even outside of the game, but I don't know. I think that's the reason why people kept coming back, and that's ultimately why Blizzard saw and people spending so much time in the game that they knew they were going to be able to, follow up on success from other MMOs that we had seen in the past, but also go even farther than that.
And games have really spread out with this. I mean, the free-to-play model is pretty much perfect for this kind of idea, like the play one game thing. League of Legends, fantastic example of this. Obviously, you can't really earn the skins or anything like that, but you can do that if you want. You can only play League of Legends. It's got almost infinite replayability. So I think one of the easiest ways to have, to point out a game like this is how much replayability does it have? Because the more it has, the more likely it's going to be. But I want to point out another one real quick that just popped into my head. Minecraft has created an entire generation of young kids who are only one game right now. And I mean, it's not 100% true. A lot of them are gamers or are turning into gamers because of Minecraft, but I've heard of a lot of interesting stuff on the internet pretty recently. One about how Minecraft's non-peak user base is around 1 million a day. Non-peak. Like, I didn't get to hear the numbers when they were at peak usage, but like 1 million at like 2 in the afternoon on a weekday. 1 million people playing Minecraft on consoles alone. Pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And I mean, of course, that could be wrong, but that was coming from Mojang themselves, or what is left of Mojang in Microsoft. And the other thing, and this was on Reddit a while back, or it might not have been on Reddit. I might have talked to someone about this. Either one. This teacher was talking about how every single day, before the kids walk out the door, they ask, hey, you gonna be on Minecraft later? To like all of the other kids there, and it's such a global thing there that it's pretty much created a culture of gaming in a lot of schools, and that I think is WoW and now Minecraft are probably two of the best examples, but WoW was for a different generation. Minecraft, a little simpler, a little easier for the kids to pick up. These kids these days.
And Minecraft is a toy in some ways too, if you think about it, how you interact with it. It's like Legos.
Minecraft
Legos are
absolutely mind-bending for me, how successful it's been. It's just crazy. That game released in 2009, came out in 2009, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna look. Crap. There we go.
And
yep, 2009. May 17th, 2009. My birthday in 2009, actually.
Oh, happy birthday, Lance.
My gift to the world on my birthday was Minecraft. You're all welcome.
Heard it here. And another example from the article that I wanted to talk about was StarCraft. That game released in 1998.
Oh, yeah.
I think
they're still doing patches for StarCraft.
And Diablo.
2010.
The original StarCraft?
Yep.
Yeah.
Original StarCraft.
Up till 2010.
That's crazy.
And I mean, I think that goes to show kind of how Blizzard views their players. Still, it's worthwhile to keep updating game for it. That's not the only game that's gotten long-term maintenance. There are games that have been going on longer that are still worked on. Obviously smaller fan bases, but still.
Yeah.
It's almost an expectation now that any sort of game with a community like that should be getting treatment as long as the community's alive.
Oh man, maybe this has a lot to do with how expectations have risen dramatically from from customers to game developers over a very short period of time. I think basically, we've always had pretty high expectations, but it was, you drop the game, it's either good or it's not, and then we keep going because you can't really do much once it hits the shelf. Now it's a constant patch cycle. It's always fixing and changing things. And that, to me, that brings me back to a game. That is what keeps me coming back. For a game like League of Legends, which I've been playing for like 3-4 years now, what brings me back is the constant additions, the constant changes. I could come back 2 months after not playing and the game could be so drastically different. And I'm sure it's that way for WoW too. One day, somebody's going to stumble upon something that no one else has thought about in the talent tree or whatever, and then suddenly that's going to be the next big meta thing. That's what happens. And this kind of replayability really, really sticks into the game and gets those people playing it and nothing else. I think replayability is core.
Yeah, and I think another thing is just something that's easy to come back to, right? Like, it'd be really hard to come back to WoW if the game had, completely changed. It was nothing like it was before. You know what I mean? Not any elements were left.
Yeah.
Like, if WoW became somehow, it just transitioned into, a first-person shooter or something, I wouldn't be able to come back to it. You know what I mean?
I like that idea. I'd like that idea
so,
a lot.
that's, I was thinking of another example, and, Team Fortress is a great example of, a game that has a community and a really just, basic idea that's done well, and, not a whole lot changes to it ever, but tons of people still play it.
Dude, hats.
I mean, of course hats, but
hats everywhere. Valve is another really good example, honestly, but they seem to be less on the single game and more on the multiple game. TF2 is kind of an exception because I've known of people who have played nothing other than that for their entire lives because it's just they've added in concepts and ideas over the course of the game's lifetime that have made that replayability so much more attractive with the hats and all the items and stuff like that. And that goes for all of them. And I think this all stems from the free-to-play model, kind of. That little tick you get when you open a box and get something that you put on your character is absolutely unbeatable.
Yeah.
Right, and we kind of talked about Blizzard being the trailblazer here, but another good point is that Blizzard's always done things better. They always aren't the first person, or first company rather, to try something out like an MMO, but they tend to do it in a way that hits a big audience, right?
Oh yeah. Yes. Definitely. And they just do it well, and then, I think Blizzard, at least most of the time isn't afraid to admit when they've made a mistake. And they're willing to try to fix it. I think a lot of companies are too proud to try to fix it. They'd rather just like move on to something else and just pretend it didn't happen, as long as they made their initial money from it already.
And you know what? I think this is going to keep happening for as long as Blizzard's around, and that's not really a bad thing because we only ever really see advancements out of them. They haven't really taken a step backwards. They've always been walking forward. And I mean, next up is Overwatch. We haven't even seen what Overwatch can really do, and that's pretty much like TF2 right there. That's a TF2-esque game.
That kind of gameplay.
If it's like TF2 except updated and has the same kind of concepts, I'm sure it's gonna hook.
Oh, it's gonna do well, guaranteed. Yeah. I think this article talks about games being becoming services, and they're kind of becoming services, and this is a little off tangent, but also like sports, right? People love to play, like some people like to play basketball, some people like to play football, etc. Watch it even, right? And nothing changes about the game ever except the players, if you consider that, right? The ball is the same, the fields are the same size, like.
All right, we've talked about this. The only thing I can remember changing are the speedos in competitive swimming.
All right, Wilson. Someone's paying a little too much attention.
Good memory.
All right.
But that's what people want, something that's easy to digest, and something they can do with other people, and something they can also watch people do. And getting to do all of that together makes it an entire different experience than just playing a game, even, right? And I think that's what keeps a sustainable model that we're seeing now.
And video games get closer to other kinds of stuff every day. It's crazy.
Yep, exactly. I mean, some games are almost movies, right? You have very theatrical experiences. BioShock is a great example, right? I mean, it's just as good as any written story you'll find in a book, a TV show, a film, whatever.
Right, and just to rope back in this idea of kind of like a one game player type, the article also poses this idea of games as a lifestyle versus games as service. And for Blizzard, I think it's pretty obvious that it's lifestyle, and the service part is just being part of the family that Blizzard calls their fans.
Mm-hmm. Or the family.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
The family or family.
The family.
Ooh. I was gonna use that.
Ooh, get wrecked, son.
But really though, it's interesting because there are games that are more service oriented, right? If you think about it.
Definitely.
More, and I think that the esports are a little more service oriented in that regard too.
Yep.
Right?
And then there are companies that just want to kind of monetize games, and they're definitely service oriented in the wrong way.
Right, we don't like that.
Nope, bad games, bad.
No likey.
So anyway, I'm just going to leave this with kind of the ending quote from the article here, and this is something from Paul Sams, who's the CEO of Blizzard, and with regard to World of Warcraft, he says that this isn't a world that they've created for themselves alone. It's a world that belongs to the players.
Absolutely.
Very true.
So we'll always be interested in what happens with World of Warcraft. I want to move the show over to Trade Chat. This is the area of the show where we hear from you, the listener. And as per usual, we have got some word from Trevorius this week. We talked a little bit about the true King Magni last time rather. The dwarf king who made the ultimate sacrifice in some ways. And Trevor offered to pay our respects anytime we would like in game, and we just wanted to take this time to say thanks to Trevor. We appreciate the offer to visit King Magni and have faith that the offer will stand sometime when we can make it out to see him. Thank you for sticking with us from the very beginning. We've benefited a lot from your input.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
We for the longest time, you contacted us pretty quickly, but when we started the show, I was almost worried we wouldn't even get any feedback. And when we saw your first response, that was it put heavy hearts on us pretty well, and it was really nice. So.
Yeah, really good stuff.
So thank you very much, Trevorius Maximus, Commander of the Armies of the North, General of the Felix Legion, and loyal servant of the true King Magni. And I just wanted to go ahead and take this time in Trade Chat to talk about why this is our last episode for the time being. After the initial rush of Warlords, we found ourselves playing WoW less and less, and it ultimately left us, especially me, with the feeling that we weren't giving the game the type of coverage we really wanted. So it's with heavy hearts that we call this the final episode of Pals for Life for the foreseeable future. It's not all bad, though. We really enjoy podcasting, and the three of us, myself, Randall, and Lane, will be shifting gears to a more general variety show called the 9001 Podcast. We'll mostly cover video games, which will include WoW from time to time, but dip into other interests such as anime, comics, Magic the Gathering, and anything else we can think of. You'll find that transmission going out next Sunday at the following website, 9001rad.io.
Haha, get it?
Yep.
Maybe if you write it out, it might be a little easier, but, you know, we are one for puns.
Oh, yeah.
Wilson is, for sure.
Oh, yes.
So, if you've enjoyed Pals for Life, we hope that you'll give 9001 a shot.
Yeah, we hope to see you there.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
At this point, I am going to close out the show. Thanks for the group, and thanks for tuning in this week, as well as the past 21 weeks. It's been a great ride. This is our last show for the foreseeable future, but not forever. There's still a time-lost proto-Drake out there, somewhere. In the meantime, you'll still be able to reach us at palsforlife.net, and check out our new home at 9001rad.io.
Yeah. Bye.
Farewell.
Forever.
Later.
Okay, maybe not forever. Hopefully not forever.
Gentlemen, that's enough.
Lane, do you really believe in your own hype that much?
We are the hype.
Do you never see people, like, you know, unloading, like, a bunch of, like, mud and being like, oh, darn, so nice to unload all this mud. You know what I mean? Like, that'll keep you on your
my
toes.
Exactly.
They hip swing.